Hey y'all, hey. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, put a two in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you from. And if you are watching on Facebook, put a one in the comments and let me know who you are. Should know y'all my friends in my head. And we will be getting started shortly. Doo-doo-doo. We'll be starting in 2 minutes. So 6:03, we will be ready to roll. Cool, 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 cool. What is this? Can y'all hear me? Yes, no, maybe. We can hear you. Okay. Thank you, Joseph. 15 seconds. All right, cool. Let's get this show on the road. So, those of you who do not know me, my name is Irene Day. I am a small business owner located in Cleveland, Ohio. My area of expertise is personal credit and taxation. I recently finally passed the last part of my enrolled agent exams. It's a three-part exam. And I actually called the IRS today because I'm like, what's taking y'all so long to send me my treasury card? And I found out that my application got approved. So as of yesterday, I am officially an enrolled agent with the IRS. So I'm really proud of that. But I told you I would do a free training today. So tax season is around the corner, right? One of the things that I see all of the time in my tax business are clients with kids, right? Clients with kids. They send us their information to file their tax return. We prepare their return. We transmit their return, and then the return gets kicked back because somebody else has already claimed one of their children. So tonight I'm going to show y'all how to combat that. The rules. Hey, Christina. Hey, Brian. The rules as far as who is supposed to claim a kid. Something that I see a lot, like people feel like, oh, well, I'm the custodial parent. IRS does not care about that. They have four guidelines that that child has to meet in order for you to claim them. So we'll cover them. How to protect your social security number or your children's social security number from being electronically filed on somebody else's tax return, and basically how the e-file system works. So let's start with the e-file system. In case you did not know, the IRS uses an electronic filing system. So the way that the system works, no social security number can be on any accepted tax return in the e-file system more than once. So a good idea, or like one of the ways that identity theft gets caught, is people will go to file their tax return and the IRS won't accept it because somebody has already filed their taxes using that person's social security number. So same thing happens with dependents. If you ever get like letters from the IRS saying that you opened an EIN number or started an EIN number for a business that you have no idea what it's for. Another way to find out if you were a victim of identity theft. So to combat people claiming kids they shouldn't be claiming, and if you were actually a victim of identity theft, the IRS has a program called the IP PIN program. So the identity protection PIN is basically like a password that you put on your Social Security number. Prior to last tax season, you could not get an IP PIN unless you were somebody who actually was a victim of identity theft. Last tax season was the first year that the IRS actually let people opt into the IP PIN program. So I want to show you guys how to fill out the form. Well, one, where to get the form to opt in. If you are an adult, you can actually do this online in your irs.gov account. But if you are somebody who has children and somebody's been claiming y'all kids, they should be claiming y'all kids, you can actually put an IP PIN on their Social Security numbers. And I'm gonna show you how. So let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna just open a new browser because I was already on this thing. So irs.gov. If it's the IRS website, it's gonna have the .gov extension right there. If it's not an IRS website, it won't have that extension. Something that I see a lot, especially leading up into tax season, are phishing scams. So it'll be websites that look like an IRS website. It looks like an IRS email, but it's not because it don't got that .gov extension. So what we want to do is we want to go here. And if you have a like an online IRS account, you can go there, get an identity protection PIN. But if you do not, or if you need to put one on your child, the reason you cannot do the application for the children online is because in order to get an irs.gov account, you have to be able to verify your identity using the ID.me system or the ID.me program. And in order to verify your identity, you have to have a credit profile with Equifax. So hopefully you guys have not taken bad credit advice and added your children, like especially if they're really young children, to your credit cards, because adding them prematurely, like before they are almost grown, really just puts them at a higher risk of having their identity stolen, their data breached, because what is something that we see all the time happening with these credit bureaus? TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, they always have data breaches. So adding your kids, like generating their credit profile sooner than it needs to be generated, you really just put your kid at risk to have their data breached as well. But over here on the IRS website, you're going to go down here to form 15227. And it's going to have me open this on my desktop to be able to fill it out. So I had already opened it, but this is what it looks like. Application for identity protection PIN. It is very straightforward. You want to do last name. So this will be the last name of your child. So my dog's last name is Day. His first name, we're going to use my dog for instance. His first name is Kava. Kava's middle name is Maurice. So I'm going to just put the M. Current mailing address. This is where you live. This needs to be an address where you can prove your residency. You need to be able to prove that your child lives at this address. So if you are the residential parent, which means the child that you are trying to add this IP PIN to lives with you, goes to school from your address, that's the address that you need to put here. Do not put your aunt's mailing address or like your mom's address. Like a lot of people at our big old age are still using their parents' addresses for things. If you do not actually reside there, if your child does not actually reside there, do not use that address. So you fill it out, and then it's going to ask you in box C. The person in box A is a dependent. If you are doing this for your child, which should be the only reason why you're doing the paper form, this is going to be yes. So we just click yes. And then here, taxpayer identification number. This is going to be their social security number. It should be a 9-digit number. A telephone number with area code at which person in box A may be contacted. You're their parent, legal guardian, so this would be your number. A language preference. If you want the IRS contacting you in English, you do it in English. If you prefer to be contacted in Spanish, it could be Spanish. We're going to do English. And then it's going to say, I declare that to the best of my knowledge and belief, the information entered on this form 15227 is true, correct, complete, and made in good faith. So what you're going to do is you are going to put today's date. What's today? The 28th. And you'll have to print this, but you want to print it and print your name right here. Not your name, not your child's name, but your name, because they're going to call this number and they're going to ask for you. Okay. Now, where do you send it? Because we got this paper form. What do we do with it? You are going to print this. Make sure you put your name here. You can either mail this into the IRS or you can fax it right here. Now, what is going to happen when the IRS processes this form and it's for your child? They are going to want you to verify, not that you have custody of the child, but verify that that child lives with you. So you are going to need two things. You're going to need proof of address for the child. So report card with your address, and their name, your address. And you're going to need like a utility bill, apartment lease, something else with the same address that has your name on it. So you see how that tied in together? That's how the IRS wants you to prove that the child actually resides with you. Do this as soon as possible. Tax season is around the corner. The IRS usually starts sending out IP pins November. It'll be tax season, tax time. I'll be here before you guys know it. Do not wait to do this. Also, the IRS takes forever doing everything. So you want to make sure this is sent in with ample time for them to be able to process it and issue you an IP pin. Something about the IP pin program. It is very important that you are keeping the address that you have updated with the IRS. So like the place where you actually live. Because once you opt into the IP pin program, you will get a new IP pin every single year. If you opt your child into the IP program and they get issued an IP pin, they will get a new IP pin every year. What happens if you are issued an IP pin, you try to use your pin from last year, it's going to reject your tax return in the IRS e-file system. So what happens when your tax return gets rejected? You're going to have to print out all 1,000 pages of that tax return, send it into the IRS, wait for the IRS to manually process your return. Don't nobody got time for that. So make sure you guys do this, get it in early. Make sure you keep your address updated with the IRS all the time. Something else. So let's talk about who should be claiming who. One of the things that I see all the time, people don't know or they want to argue with who is supposed to be claiming, who's supposed to be claiming who, and what is this? it confuses a lot of taxpayers. Like a lot of people, like get into debates, like especially like if you are a parent, you got a co-parent with somebody, like you either went through a divorce or y'all just have like some crazy stuff going on parenting wise. There there are things like there's a basically a set of rules that the IRS uses to determine who can claim the kids. So one of them is the relationship test. The child has to be somebody of an immediate family member. So child, niece, nephew, brother, sister, something along those lines. Your cousin, no. Um, like it has to be something like in your family downline branch. So relationship test, residential. Okay. Notice I did not say who has custody of the kid. I said relationship, residential. These are the two that get people confused or like caught up all the time. Residential. Did that child live with you for at least 6 months of the year, the previous tax year? So this is 2023. Is a child that I am claiming, did they live with me for at least 6 months of the year in 2022? If the answer is yes, then you've passed another one of the tests to see if you can claim the child. Something else, how much care did you provide for that child? So if you provided more than 50% of the expenses for that child to live, that's another test. People think child support is me proving that I substantially provided for the child. It is not. So if you pay child support, but the kid didn't live with you for more than 6 months of the year, you legally should not be claiming that kid on your tax return. What happens when somebody claims your kid, right? So I have the legal right to claim my child, but her dad might have claimed them, right? When I go to file my tax return, it is going to reject my tax return, which sucks. Something that I see people do a lot of times though, they'll just take the dependent off or take the child off their tax return and then transmit it without, or like resend it in electronically without that child. You don't have to do that. If you legally have the right to claim that child and somebody beats you to the e-file process, you can still claim your kid. You will just have to print the return, sign it, and mail it in. Did I cover everything? Y'all got any questions for me? Oh, we covered everything. And I said I was going to be on here for less than 30 minutes. So I'm proud of me because I usually be rambling. What is he doing? Y'all, my dog is outside going crazy. Oh, that wasn't my dog. That was somebody else's dog. If someone files incorrectly, will they pay penalties? Yes. So if you claim children that you are not supposed to claim, a couple of things happen. So one, you could possibly be claiming the head of household filing status when you don't qualify for the head of household filing status. So say it was somebody who like it was a dad, he claimed his daughter. He wasn't supposed to claim his daughter, but that's the only dependent that he claimed. He would be penalized, one, for claiming the child tax credit, and he wasn't supposed to. He would be penalized for claiming the head of household filing status, and he wasn't supposed to. And depending on what other credits he qualified for by claiming her, he'll be penalized for those as well. If it is somebody that the IRS deems as like a serial offender, they will disqualify you from being able to claim certain tax credits. Awesome. So it's never worth it. Hey JT, it's never worth it. And there's always a way to solve problems, like when you have issues, especially when it comes to taxation. So that's it. Put these IP pins on y'all kids. Keep y'all addresses updated with the IRS. I know y'all be want to use these PO boxes and all these other addresses. Don't use those. Use your actual home address. And be proactive instead of reactive, because once you get into a situation where, or say something I see often, I see people, actually I had 3 clients this week. Today is Thursday, September 28th. I had 3 people reach out to me this week because they got their taxes done a couple years ago, and now they received letters recently from the IRS saying that they owe like astronomical amounts of money. Why is this? Because they went to a tax preparer who wasn't a registered tax preparer, who didn't actually know how to prepare taxes. They were just doing data entry. The taxpayer usually had additional forms that they didn't give their tax professional if they did go to somebody. And now you got this crazy tax bill. Let me tell y'all, going to somebody who's not an actual tax professional, who is not experienced, who is not educated, will cost you more money in the long run than that money up front to get your taxes done. Tax resolution work, anytime you have to hire a CPA, an enrolled agent, gang, or a tax attorney to consult and fix any issues that you have with the IRS, that is going to cost you a whole lot more than the fee that you would have paid to just get your taxes done correctly the first time. I got another question. If I claim my kid on my W-2 with my job, do I have to claim them when I file? No, you do not. You do not. So something that I feel like we should probably talk about more. Part of the Tax Cuts and Job Act, which was basically the tax Trump bill of 2020, he gave a bunch of rich people tax breaks, and he also changed the W-4. So the W-4 is the form that you fill out at your job that tells your job how much money to withhold from your taxes. So you will put on the W-4 your filing status, how many exemptions that you are claiming, and the way that it was calculated completely different than the new W-4. So something that I saw a lot in tax year 2020, so this was 2021, tax year 2020, a lot of people, basically their W-4s, the old W-4 converted to the new W-4 in the payroll system, and it messed up people's withholdings. So I would highly recommend, if you do have a tax professional, have them do a paycheck checkup. If you are a Hannah Financial client, this is a service that we offer. It is included in your tax preparation services. We are open 10 out of 12 months of the year for tax work. So we are typically available year round to assist our clients with things like that. But your tax professional will be able to tell you if you are under withholding or not. Don't try to figure it out on your own, because it's going to be a pain in the ass, but definitely make sure y'all get that done. Next question. If someone did file and claim last year, can someone file an addendum this year, or is there a statute of limitations? So it would be an amendment, and you can claim a tax refund for up to 3 years. So the current tax year and 2 previous years. Anything outside of that, the IRS will not issue you a refund. So listen, so I'm the OG credit queen. Y'all see the Y'all see the crown, the Millionaires Club award, all that stuff. Um, Something that I see a lot in the credit space, people who are doing fake credit repair, and they are telling people to claim or file identity theft affidavits with the FTC. The Federal Trade Commission, keyword federal, is a federal organization. What happens when you go and file false identity theft claims with the FTC? More times than not, the FTC is going to report that to the IRS. So now you have an IP pin assigned to your social security number that you didn't even know you had. I see it all the time. All of the time. Thank you, Joseph. All of the time. If you decide to go get your credit fixed by somebody and they're telling you, go file a police report and say your identity got stolen, when you know your identity didn't get stolen, if they're telling you to go on the FTC website and file a false identity theft claim, don't do it. It's also a very bad idea to lie to a federal agency. I'm not sure if y'all knew that, but for some reason, there's a lot of people that don't know that, but it's a very bad idea. I'm gonna take 2 more questions and I'm gonna let y'all go. Look, JT, do it right the first time or pay more to get it fixed. Yep. And you know what's funny? One of the people who reached out to me this week, she was a client of mine and she didn't like my prices in 3 years ago. So she didn't file with me the following year. She filed with somebody who just did her shit just did her taxes, I think on like TurboTax. And I'm like, girl, if you hated the price then, you really don't hate the prices to fix this issue that you have. And for this upcoming season, because the price went up when I talked to the IRS today and found out that they finally approved my enroll agent credential. So what we got? What we got? Y'all have no more questions? Yeah, listen, yesterday's price is not today's price. You hear me? Absolutely not. That's weird. EA Princess. Look. I gotta figure out like what my yes, JTEA gang gang. I gotta figure out like what is my like tax guru name gonna be. I've been working on like this whole just branding myself as me. It's going pretty decent. So I think that's just what we're gonna stick with. JT, ask me a question. How about that? Hmm? Y'all just not gonna give me these 2 questions so I can answer them. Get on out of here. What should the taxpayer do if they haven't filed in years and they don't have any docs? If they have a job, like if they had jobs for those years, like they were employees, I would start with requesting your wage and income. Well, one, I would start with finding a tax professional who actually knows what they're doing. And that tax professional, depending on if they are credentialed or not. So if they are a EA, a CPA, or a tax attorney, they should be able to request your wage and income transcripts for the years that you did not file, since you don't have any tax documents. And they should be able to request those unmasked with 2848, which is a power of attorney form. So they can see like what income was actually reported. Yeah, what income was actually reported to the IRS. So the IRS has like there are certain income forms that are issued to you, the taxpayer, that are also issued to the IRS. So your W-2s, 1099 miscellaneouses, 1099 NEC, so non-employee compensation. If you are using Stripe, Cash App, PayPal, and you did more than, like, you received more than $600, you're going to get a 1099K from those credit card processing companies. Those are also issued to the IRS. That's why a lot of times when people are getting these CP 2000 letters, which is basically you filed your taxes, you underreported your income, I'm hitting you with all these penalties, fines, and this is what you owe us. When you get that letter, it's because there was income that was reported to the IRS that you did not report on your tax return. So once the IRS gets to doing checks and balances, because the IRS system is about checks and balances, now here you are owing all of this money. So I would start there. When will Hannah Financial EA courses begin? Never. It is not in my ministry to do that. And this tax business training, this is the last live one that I'm doing. Moving forward, I have a vision for my business, and I know like how I want to transition it, especially since I finally got my EA designation. And I really need to stop saying finally, because I started studying for it last summer and I knocked out all three parts in less than a year, while running my business full time. So it was a big accomplishment, but yeah, no, I have no desire to teach that level of taxation. My passion, honestly, is educating individuals and small businesses, small business owners, on how the world of taxation and the world of credit work. Like, I feel like a lot of us, especially these past couple of years, like tried to hop into entrepreneurship or started small businesses, and they have no idea how to even like navigate that. And I see a lot of times people feel like because they do not know, that the IRS or anybody else is going to cut them any slack. And it's like, no, you're just easy prey. Like the IRS, it takes a lot of time, resources, and expertise to audit multi-million dollar companies, to audit high earners, because they have a much different financial situation than somebody who might have worked like 3 jobs during a year, don't have a side hustle, don't have no real estate, don't have a business. So it's like those people are easier to audit, fine, get extra money from, than putting in the time, energy, and resources it is to go after the bigger fish. And this will be my last question of the night. Will you offer monthly subscriptions on tax training to stay up on education? So I will have paid mini courses, but my goal, honestly, is to just keep doing free, generating leads and nurturing those people to turn them into tax clients. Oh, call to action, y'all. I got something free. So I made a, is it a checklist? I want to call it a checklist, sort of, kind of, maybe. Oh, let me put it in here. The website. It's a free download, but basically 5 things that you need to know about filing your taxes. So 5 very important things. It's a free download. Download it, read it. It's some like videos in there, and I'm real big on like, this is what I said, and this is why I said it. Like, here is the source. A lot of times in the financial space, I see all of these financial gurus with no education, no backing, no actual sources for the information that they are giving people. So anytime I talk about like anything tax related, anything credit related, like, I can go to irs.gov and show you the publication. I can pull up the Credit Repair Organization Act and tell you what that said. Like, the proof is in the pudding, which is why I be running my mouth the way I do, because I don't know much, but what I do know, I know very well. And that's all I got. I'm gonna get off of here. I hope that tonight was informative for you guys. And go download my freebie, because I put a pretty decent amount of energy into that. And I will see you guys on my next live training.